Hello, welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage, on a humid Monday afternoon. Today I'm working on the first bench that I dragged home. Before I dragged home its almost twin, the welding bench with all the holes in it that we did a video on last week. This particular bench is the first one I bought. I only paid $200 for it. And I like it, love it, but the way the upper shelf bracket, if you can see my hand, is made, that's a long way to the floor, and I like that it has the adjustable pads. However, unless you're going to leave it in one spot, which I'm not, even getting it to whatever spot I might leave it in, it is not impossible, but difficult to move. You put it up a few blocks of wood on the floor jack and go to move it, and the blocks of wood fall over. So, my plan all along from the day I bought it a couple weeks ago was to put wheels on it. And I have a collection of misfit wheels outside and some steel. So I went in search of those this morning, and I found plenty of non-swiveling wheels. These are 6-inch, and the swiveling ones are obviously a different durometer rubber or whatever they are. That's a nice wheel right there. Either way, they're rated for way more than moving the bench around, so that'll be fine. I like to put the swivel wheels away from the end I'm going to put my receiver hitch on, even though it's going to be up on the stands. If you happen to be working on it when it's rolling around, it's easier to beat on things on the rigid wheel side. If you get what I'm saying, you'd have to be pushing them across the floor instead of just swiveling around. Now my big bench has swivels on all four corners. They're steel wheels. And I just knock them different directions. And for the most part, that bench stays in place. But if I'm really wailing on something, I have moved it before. But in this case, with the adjustable pads, when I get it to where I want it, I'm going to lower it down. The other bench is 39 inches high from here to the floor, and I wanted this one to match if I ever wanted to put them together. And it would be nice if this frame wasn't on the lift. I would have put the bench up on the lift, so I'd be standing up working on it. But then I got thinking how I was going to do it. Like pretend I had to get wheels on it in this position. It wasn't so difficult to figure out how to do it. So I didn't have any 2x2 tubing which would match the legs, but I had some 2x3, so it's going to move the lower shelf, which I'm going to add up an inch. No big deal. It's a pretty short shelf anyway, just like the other bench. And I went ahead, and now I could have made plates and bolted the wheels on, but I have so many wheels, they're probably going to last 3 lifetimes as it is. So I went ahead and just welded about 1.5 inches on either side. And if I ever had to change them, I'll just cut them off, or you can actually service the wheel there. You can service the swivel. So not a concern. I put the grease fitting out on the rigid wheel, non-swiveling wheel. And if I flip that over here on the bench, if you don't play with the swivel too much, it'll actually sit right there by itself. So I leveled the bench at 38 3/4 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and install the wheels right there. I already got one in position, ready to weld. And when I get it to its destination, I can just, using the jacking bolts, raise it to the full 39, or just take the strain off it. If it's not next to the other bench, 1/4 inch doesn't matter, but I wanted the ability, let's just say I wanted to hook them together. That's the way I think anyway, so that's what I did. So I'm going to go ahead and weld these across the top and a little bit on the sides, and then I'll jack the bench up quite a ways to be able to weld the underneath portion of it. And I'll add, you can see these, maybe you can see these little supports he gave me. I'm going to put one in the middle of each one. And I need to get one more piece of diamond plate for the lower shelf, and which may be difficult to get in, but I'll figure it out. And that's today's project. So I'm going to do a little welding, and I'll get back at you. It's the next day, ran out of time yesterday. The project is coming along. I was able to get both lower pieces with the wheels welded 3/4 of the way around. I put a support like in the middle of the upper, under the shelf in the lower, and it was kind of difficult to get that in there, but I managed to do it without wrecking it. It's never coming out, even if I don't weld it. And for the end, all I had was some angle iron just to fill in the ends to hold us a shelf up. You can see bare metal has handprints that are starting to rust, so I gotta get after finishing it. I'll need one more piece of diamond plate for the upper. I've actually contacted the kid that built it to see if he could supply me another one. You know, I'll pay him for it, but he seems to have access to it. So I have some outside diamond plate. It's been outside for a long time, so it would work, and I will do that if I have to. But now I got more welding to do. I need to weld the bottom shelf and the upper support, and also my receiver hitch. I brought these two slivers over here. When I first got my horizontal bandsaw, it came with a thin piece that they had cut for practice. It still cuts straight, that's for sure. I was adjusting the ends of the metal. I thought that was kind of interesting. And here it is in desperate need of cleaning. The metal filings are piling up. It has coolant to cool the blade while it's cutting, but I don't use it very often. Only for really thick stuff. It reminds me it needs to be refilled. It evaporates over time. And it looks like I actually have some, if there's anything in the bottle. Another fine job by my MIGmaster 250. I love this thing. 27 or 8 years I've had it. I find it interesting that I'm running it really hot, what I consider really hot for the stuff I'm doing. And I'm on low, 7, like 3 3/4. I got my custom settings that I like written down. I really only use 4 settings all the way from sheet metal to structural, 1/4 inch plate or bigger. And just like that, well, several hours worth of work, it's mobile. It's no longer a mooring in the middle of my shop. Now I can move it out of the way and do the things I planned on doing. Stopping and doing this right now. Is it convenient? Well, it had to be done because I bought it and dragged it home, put it right in the way. Kind of forces your hand to go ahead and make it better. So I still need one more piece of diamond plate, and like a genius, I finished welding this, put the receiver hitch on, was getting tired of bending over, picked up my mess, picked the cords to the welder up, put everything away, and then realized I was going to take the floor jack and jack each corner up and weld underneath, everything I put on the bottom, which is complete overkill. It's welded 3/4 of the way around, and it's not a roll cage or something that's protecting you. But I still can't help myself. I will raise it up when I put the upper shelf on and finish welding it, because that's just what it'll bother me because I have it. So just the way it is. So again, it rolls nicely. It actually rolls better than it has better quality wheels than the other one. Which, having it roll nice is not necessarily the quality you want, because every time you go to use it, it'll roll away if you don't put the outriggers down. But that's easily done with an adjustable wrench, so it is what it is. These wheels didn't have brakes, but again, I wasn't picky. I was using what I had, as long as the steel. The steel wasn't ideal, that rhymed, but it's just fine. This shelf is technically an inch shorter between here than it would have been if I had 2x2 tubing, but I didn't, so there it is. So for the 3 or 4 people that made it this far in the video, projects like this aren't as popular. Transmission stuff is, everything else I do isn't, but I'm not going to stop doing and filming everything else. I've been told the best way to do it is to film everything, which I don't. I go a lot of days. I don't really only put out a video every couple days, 2 a week maybe, so. A lot of stuff I don't show. YouTube gets mad at you when you put out unpopular videos, but I'm just going to forge ahead at my snail's pace. What do they say? My tiny fledgling YouTube channel. So it'll remain tiny for quite some time, but those that watch it, I appreciate you. And I'll catch you in a couple days.